Good evening to all the great men of MDI. Thanks for showing up tonight. And we got a lot of stuff planned. Let me just start out by introducing to you for this next segment, our new, at least as a few months ago, the new president of MDI, Ian Kennard. Kennard.
And of course, I have to unmute. Thank you very much, Mr. Snow. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for being here. And thank you for all you do within MDI. I'd like to start by stating that the mission of Mentor, Discover, Inspire is to cause greatness by mentoring men to live with excellence and, as mature masculine leaders, create successful families, careers, and communities. Mr. Thurman, can you deliver the vision of Mentor, Discover, Inspire, please?
Certainly, a world where honor, selflessness, commitment, integrity, training, and learning give men the wisdom and courage to serve all men, women, and children for the betterment of humanity.
Thank you very much. My vision for Mentor, Discover, and let me rephrase that, our vision for Mentor, Discover, Inspire is that with trust and collaboration, we build the foundation and infrastructure of Mentor, Discover, Inspire so that all future generations of men have a men's circle to stand in. I'd like to start by introducing myself, tell you a little bit about who I am as a man, who I am in Mentor, Discover, Inspire, and elaborate just a little bit on what my vision means to us and the leadership team that have embraced it and are working to execute on it. So first of all, I'm 60 years old. I was born and raised in Toronto, and I currently live and work in London, Ontario, which is for men who are geographically challenged, is about halfway between Toronto and Detroit. I have owned a successful restaurant and catering company for the last 26 years. It's called Willie's Cafe. And despite the fact that the last 2 years have presented some significant challenges, I'm still operational and still doing well. I'm been separated for about 15 years. I have an excellent relationship with my ex-wife. We still share a joint bank account. About 5 or 6 years ago, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and is on permanent disability. And I still do whatever I can to support her. We still have family dinners together. And it's just a very solid relationship. And she actually only lives about 2 blocks away from me. I have one son, Braden Kennard. He is 28 years old. And he's been on my men's team for the last 8 years. And we also have the privilege and honor of working together. He basically runs the kitchen of Willie's Cafe for me. So we spend a lot of time, and it's just a real honor to be able to work and produce great things with my son. I've also been in a long-term relationship for about 15 years with one of my employees, Cindy. We have a great loving relationship, although working together does create challenges. And the other interesting thing about that is that we maintain separate households. I have a house, she has a house, we live a block apart. And it's one of the best arrangements that we've had since we spend so much time together at work. I've been in recovery for 10 years. And that was in large part thanks to MDI to get me to the point where I realized I needed to do something about that. I love to read, I love to swim, I love to cook, and I own a cottage with my brother about 5 hours northeast of London, and I love to spend weekends and as much time as possible up there with my brother, my son, my girlfriend. It's just a great place to hang out. In my early 30s, I suffered a severe mental health crisis. I was diagnosed with chronic debilitating anxiety disorder and went through about 2 years of therapy and 10 years of medication to get that looked after. And I'm happy to say that it is behind me. It was very challenging, but it's behind me, and it was a great learning and growth opportunity. I can ride a unicycle. I cut my own hair, and I have one tattoo, which is of my family coat of arms. And the Latin is at spes non fracta, which means unbroken hope. My purpose is to live a life, so it's to live and share a life of love and gratitude. That's about me as a man. MDI, excuse me. I did my men's weekend in June '02 and the Legacy Discovery in Feb '04. I started a men's team in London 15 years ago with Chris Rushforth, and we're eventually able to work with a bunch of men in this area to create a tribe called Western Front, and that was actually made into a division about 10 years ago. And that's my division, and my team here in London is London Calling. I also helped build with again significant other men the Canada region to include Head Smashed In. That was an honor and a privilege to do that and to work with those division coordinators. I've led the kitchen team at about half a dozen Legacy Discoveries and a bunch of Murrays. One of the highlight Murrays was we had 145 men in attendance, and our kitchen crew, which was basically my men's team, served all of those men a full-on buffet barbecue dinner with no running water, no electricity, and completely outdoors. And that was at Farron's Forest. So if the men who have been to Farron's Forest know what that like, it was just an amazing event to serve 145 men in the middle of a field. I was on the training team for Legacy Discovery for at least 6 events. And I've either participated or helped lead most of the current training offerings that we have. Briefly, I've been a team leader, tribe leader, division coordinator, division membership manager, regional coordinator, international VP of Ops. And on November 11th of last year, I was elected by the board of directors to be the next president of MDI. And I'd like to thank and acknowledge the board for their trust and confidence in me to take that on. I'm committed to do the work that we do, and all the major life decisions that I've made in the last 20 years have been made with the help of the men in MDI. So I want to talk a little bit about my vision and what that looks like. So my vision is that with trust and collaboration, we build the foundation and infrastructure of Mentor, Discover, Inspire, so that all future generations of men have a men's circle to stand in. There's 4 key words in that vision: trust, collaborate, foundation, and infrastructure. For me, collaborate means that everything we do is related, it's connected. It's all about relationships, all the way from team leaders and men on the team, all the way up to the international core team. In order to collaborate, we need to trust. And trust means that when we're in a relationship with a man, that when he says he's going to do something, he actually does it, because that allows us to collaborate. If we're going to build the future of this organization, and if we're going to scale it and get to, the board's strategic objective is 1,500 men, we're going to get to 1,500 men. If we're going to get to 1 million men, we need a solid foundation to build on. We need a solid foundation to be able to scale the organization. So that means team meetings need to be solid. We need to have a plan for growth. We need to be able to support the growth. Infrastructure for me is about, how we communicate, how we collaborate, how we bring trainings up and train new men and train new leaders. That's part of the infrastructure. And again, having an effective and manageable map for how we grow to 1,500 or 1 million men. And really what I want is that I want to make sure that there's a men's circle for your great, great, great grandsons. That's part of my vision. To support that, some of the things that we're doing is we started to build an intentional calendar. And when I say an intentional calendar, that means that we don't have to keep reinventing things. So it means that there will be regularly scheduled town halls. Town halls will occur every February, June, and October. International core team meeting is always the 2nd weekend in January. The DC Summit is always the 3rd weekend in March and the 1st week in November. Team leader summits are always the last weekend in May and the last weekend in November. So we've already started building an intentional calendar that we can rely on. And when men step into leadership roles, they know what weekends they need to book off. We held our first leadership summit on January 15th and 16th. And it was broken into 2 days. The first day was built around the theme of trust and what I said earlier, how we need to trust each other to move forward and how important that trust is. And the second day was built around collaboration, how we collaborate, how we work with each other. We can't keep working in individual silos. Everything we do is related, and in order to get where we're going, we need to collaborate. We identified some of our top priorities. Top three priorities were legacy discovery, and the program leaders will speak more in depth about this later on in the meeting. But it is one of the foundations of our organization and the foundation for future growth. And we're looking at it being the foundation for our building a signature event, and have it be consistent across the organization, consistent production standards, and consistent product content across the organization. The other biggest top priority was expansion initiative, which is led by Mr. DiCarlo. And we're looking at continuing to build and integrate that into the organization and work and build a closer relationship with the MTP program. And finally, our third top priority was training. And one of the things we're looking to do is bring production standards to our training and create a library of more trainings and create new trainings. And as I said, the program leaders will speak to that later in the meeting. A couple of the other highlights from our leadership summit, working with Smith and Moreau to integrate Bitrix as our main collaboration and communication tool, working with the MTP program, which we'll talk more about a little bit, to integrate that into the organization and make it part of what we do every day and part of how we bring new men into the organization. I'm working closely with Snow. One of the things that we talked about at the leadership summit was about bringing a project management approach to the programs that we're executing on. I'd like to acknowledge Nathan Merlin for coming to the international meeting and to give us a 20-minute project management 101 talk. But what that looks like is we're going to establish timelines, deliverables, deadlines, and document storage for all the programs that we're doing. Again, document storage so that we don't have to keep reinventing the wheel, and the next president, the next VP of Ops has the programs and documentations already there for them to build on. We're in the process of building a team of experienced men and newer men in the organization to take a hard look at enrollment, team leader development, and retention, and how we address the concerns that are often expressed around those three areas. And finally, the future of MDI. So I've been in MDI for 20 years, and we've sort of floated between 500 and 1,000 men. I mean, briefly, when I was a regional coordinator, I think we cracked 1,000 men at one point. And frankly, I'm tired of being a 1,000-man organization. I believe our future and the ability to build the foundation and infrastructure so that we can scale and grow the organization will require paid staff. We can't keep asking senior leaders to volunteer 20 to 30 hours a week of their life to support the organization and the growth that we're trying to achieve. I believe we have a future with 3 to 4 paid staff. And thanks to Mr. Holowichuk, if we can get to 1,100 men, all things remaining equal, we can employ $150,000 worth of paid staff to support the organization. And some of the areas that I see that we would engage those paid employees would be around fund development to help bring more money into the organization to help work on those programs and create more and better programs. Looking at social media management and development, programs and reporting. And again, so just sort of tasky things that we're asking men to spend volunteer hours on that could possibly be outsourced, or people could be hired to look after those responsibilities. I believe that we need to look at how we can do things differently. I believe that there's more than one right answer and more than one right way to get where we're going. So again, thank you for listening to me. And I'd just like to say that my vision is that with trust and collaboration, we build the foundation and infrastructure of mentor, discover, inspire, so that all future generations of men have a men's circle to stand in. Thank you for your time, and I am complete. Mr. Snow. Off mute, Mr. Snow. Mr. Christopher, I'm not sure where Mr. Stowe went. Mr. Christopher, one of the things I like to do is have Mr. Christopher, who is my chief of staff, introduce the core team.
Thank you, Mr. President. When I call your name, please just say, "Hi, I'm," and then state your name. And the reason for that is to get you on the front page of Zoom. So I don't know we'll skip him. We'll start with Mr. Thurman.
Hi, I'm Tom Thurman.
Tom Thurman is in charge of operations. This job involves overseeing the regional coordinators, making sure they work effectively with the DCs in their region, as well as working with RCs to implement international objectives. RCs report to the VP of operations. Mr. Smith.
Hi, I'm Dave Smith.
Dave Smith is our international S1. He's in charge of MDI operations communication, including sending out international notices, hosting Zoom meetings for international events and special projects as requested by the president, and managing a team of regional S1s overseeing the quality of regional communications and improving MDI members' database accuracy. Mr. Jerry Holowichuk.
Hi, I am Jerry Holowichuk.
Mr. Holowichuk is our CFO. He oversees the financial affairs of the international organization, including budget preparation, bill payment, financial planning, preparation of financial statements, and preparation of annual tax returns. I now have the pleasure of introducing two men, Mr. Scott Baldwin and Mr. Olaf Kropp.
Hi, I'm Scott Baldwin.
Hey man, I'm Olaf Kropp.
Messrs. Baldwin and Kropp. Baldwin is the outgoing in the next couple of weeks MTP manager. Mr. Kropp is the incoming manager. This position will transition on March 1st. The man oversees the development and implementation of the membership training program. This man works with RCs, DCs, and a team representatives to assist in getting new men into and through MTP. Mr. Ed Harrigan.
Oh man, I'm Ed Harrigan.
All right, Mr. Harrigan is in charge of legacy discovery. This position focuses on two huge objectives: working with the RCs and regions to develop the content of our ongoing legacy discovery events, as well as developing in coordination with the region's consistent standards for conducting LCDs, such as budgets and timely securing volunteers at the local level. As an aspiration, this man will work with all the men to develop a true MDI signature event. Mr. Frank DiCarlo.
Man, I'm DiCarlo.
Mr. DiCarlo is in charge of the expansion initiative. This position improves and runs the expansion initiative. This includes developing effective advertising on social media, as well as working with regions to secure and manage elite ambassadors, OIP trainers, and commitment team participants to get men into the expansion initiative program, through the program, and into MTP, eventually being fully functioning teammates. Mr. Matt Lyons. You're on mute, Lyons. You're still on mute, Lyons.
I'm Matt Lyons.
Go. Mr. Lyons is in charge of training. He develops trainings to be conducted at the international level, secures and oversees trainers to conduct the trainings, develops the calendar of trainings, and monitors trainings to make sure they meet our high training quality standards. Mr. Bill Tillman.
Tillman here.
All right. Mr. Tillman is in charge of strategic planning. He focuses on the longer term future of MDI and serves on the board strategic planning committee. Mr. Dennis Moreau.
Hi, I'm Dennis Moreau.
Mr. Moreau is in charge of technology and retention. His position manages Bitrix 24 and the website. He keeps Bitrix running, trains men to use Bitrix directly and indirectly, and uses Bitrix 24 to focus on membership communication, securing and posting documents for information and training, posting the organization calendar, hosting the roster, facilitating team communication, if and when teams learn how to use Bitrix 24, effect calls and meetings at all levels of the organization and all other international communications. He also oversees the website, which in the future will focus primarily on dues payments, and he holds the honor of the longest job description. Mr. Matt Tager. No Tager? Well, that fits with his position, which is to be determined, but he will soon be joining the core team and is in discussions with the president and others about exactly what that role will be. Mr. Snow, are you back?
I'm here. This is Snow.
All right. Stan Snow is our executive director. He's responsible for enrolling volunteers, mentoring leaders, supervising programs and projects as directed by the president. Mr. Chris Christopher. I'm Chris Christopher. I am the chief of staff. I'm the president's right-hand man, helping him think of and implement what he holds important for our organization. And finally, Mr. Ian Kennard.
Hi, I'm Ian Kennard.
Mr. Kennard is our president. That makes him Mr. Everything, Everything, Everything. Seriously, the president holds the overall context for MDI and oversees the men that are executing all of our initiatives and programs. He sets vision and drives everything that we do. And that, gentlemen, is your 2022 core team. And I am complete, Mr. Snow.
Excellent. Thank you, Christopher. So men, assuming that I can get this, my technology to continue to cooperate, I just want to talk to you a little bit, just for a few minutes, about something we spent a fair amount of time with at the International Leadership Summit in January. And if you notice, Kennard pointed out 4 important words in his vision, which is now our shared vision. And those words were trust, collaborate, infrastructure, and, oh my God, I forgot the 4th one.
Foundation.
Foundation. Thank you. Thank you. I'm thinking of concrete and I can't think, okay, yeah, foundation. First of those is trust. And at the leadership meeting, we did an exercise where we asked each other, who do you not trust on this team? And of course, I think I'm speaking for everybody when the first thought was, oh, I trust everybody. Of course I trust everybody. But, we spent about an hour giving men an opportunity to really take a look at trust. And I just want to mention a couple things that I opened that exercise with. One is that there's an author named Stephen M.R. Covey. He's the son of Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And Stephen M.R. Covey wrote a book called Speed of Trust. And in that book, he says that the speed of an organization is directly proportional to the level of trust within that organization. If you think about that, it just simply makes sense, because if there's no trust, it means that every step an organization makes, and I'm going to use MDI as an example, every step that we make, if there's no trust, then men have to be enrolled, they have to be convinced, the resistance has to be overcome, and all of that stuff takes time before we can take a second step. And honestly, that has held us back in the past. And so all I wanted to mention to you men today was take a real look at what does trust mean to you. That we teach in essential skills training that there are 2 trust models. The most common in the world is the earned trust model, which means I'm not going to trust you until you earn it. That's one way to do it. It tends to leave most people not really trusting anyone unless it's someone they know really well or someone who's continuously earned their trust over time. The other trust model is the gift of trust. You simply decide to give someone your trust. I can tell you that in my life, switching from the earned model to the gift model has changed my life completely. And I've found that it is far more costly to not trust than it is to give trust and be burned from time to time. The key to those two models is if you are the person giving trust, if you're the person trusting, you simply give your trust to someone. If you are the person being trusted, then it is incumbent on you to act as though you need to earn that trust. And if you do, then the person who's trusting you is rewarded with everything that comes from trusting someone. Now, I say all that just to ask you, our members, to take a look at, do I trust the men leading this organization? Do I trust the men who are, the talking heads on this town hall meeting? Do I trust my team leader? Do I trust my division coordinator or tribe leader? Do I trust my regional coordinator? Do I trust these men in international positions? I was on the phone, interestingly, I was on the phone with a division coordinator today, and we were talking about his preparation for a leadership call that he had coming up. And I pointed out to him that based on some things in his CPR agenda, that he did not trust his S1. And of course, like any of us, his response was, "Oh, of course I trust my S1." So, well, I pointed out some things, and all of a sudden he goes, "You know what? I'm not trusting him. I'm telling him exactly what to do, how to do it. I don't trust him to be able to do it himself." And I said, "Well, what would it be like if you just trusted him? What's the worst that could happen?" And it shifted his context. I'm sure it's going to shift his relationship. And what I'm asking you as members is trust your leaders. Give them trust. And when they screw up and they fuck up, let them know. But don't refuse to trust them until they've, done everything the way you think it should be done, or consulted you on every decision, or whatever it is that is in the way of you trusting not only the men standing right in front of you as your leaders, like your team leader or DC, but the men maybe you haven't even met yet. These men on this call who are going to be talking tonight. Trust this. Trust that every man in international leadership wants what's best for you and what's best for this organization. Will you agree with every decision made? Absolutely not. But if you look at the things that you disagree with from the place that this man cares, this man wants what's best for me, he wants what's best for this organization, it'll give you an opportunity to have a completely different view of what this organization is that you belong to and pay dues to. And maybe my hope is that through that trust, you will see an opportunity for yourself to step up, to be in leadership, to contribute. And through that contribution, get far, far more rewards than you will ever receive by simply being on a men's team. So with that, I want to move the call along to the next step, but I want to let you know that there is an opportunity at the end of this meeting for comments and questions. And I encourage you to think about as you ask the question. How would I ask this question if I was asking it from a place of trust? Because it's my sense that the level of trust in MDI has increased steadily and dramatically over the last, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And that's great because we get to do a lot more stuff and we get to move a lot quicker and create more benefits for you and the men who are still to come. So thanks for listening. And I want to go on next to, we've got some folks here to talk about some of those programs that Kennard talked about that we are going to emphasize and focus on this year. And the first ones that I'd like to bring up are the editor of Legacy Magazine, Jim Ellis, and the publisher of Legacy Magazine, Justin Labarge. Gentlemen, you're up.
Right on. Hey, everybody. Yeah, this is Ellis, editor of the magazine, Legacy. Very quickly, we want you to raise your hand. Now, raise your hand. You know how to do that, right? Raise your hand if you plan to live on Earth forever. Go ahead and raise your hand if you plan. Okay. Okay, good, good, good. Okay. So for the rest of you who may pass away, you most likely have considered the desire to have your legacy live on into future generations. All right. So this is one of the new directions that the Legacy Magazine is taking in something called the Living Legacy Project. Labarge and I have been working on the Living Legacy Project. Now, since 2013, we've gone from, check it out, a confidential, MDI only quarterly newsletter to a high quality monthly online magazine. And we've had great contribution from Craig Jones, Crawford Hart, Jamie Green, Dylan Stewart, Olaf Crop, Jack Brown, Louis, Childers, Kempner, Spira, Coddington, O'Keefe, McCarter, just to name a few. Okay, and we even had some fun with the April Fool's editions over the years, where we even had some men want to quit after believing the satirical story about MDI allowing women onto men's teams. That didn't happen. So now we're looking to shift gears a little bit to document into archives the wisdom of the men and the stories of the men. And that involves you. All right. Have you ever been in a circle where you heard a story or a piece of wisdom and thought, damn, that is powerful shit. And then it goes by. Well, we have a response now that you can make when you hear such wisdom or anything at a meeting, a great story. It's a meme that we like to call, hey, that should be put into legacy. So when you hear a man say something brilliant or a great story, you tell that man that should be put into legacy. And what we're going to do is we're going to gather these stories, your stories, gather the wisdom, your wisdom, and we're going to put them into the magazine or the Living Legacy Project. And what you tell them is that should be put into legacy, and tell them, they'll go, what do you mean? Where? And you say legacymag.org, legacymag.org. That's where the Living Legacy page will be. With a submission button will reside. And I think Mr. Labarge will take over and show us a little bit about what that looks like.
Okay, man. Let's see what it looks like. So I'm going to do a screen share here because, you know, the men, we need to see it. So here we are. This is the Legacy Magazine homepage. And I just want to show you that when you come over here, you can type in Legacy Magazine, legacymag.org, and it takes you right to this page. What we're looking at is this, you can see, so it just loaded now. On the left-hand side, you can see this is the most recent content we published, which is the MDI Man of the Year. And we have a number of men that were acknowledged. We've got Folks and Schlosser and Williams. And then on the right-hand side, we have this column called the Living Legacy Project. Click here for more information. And these are the stories that we've had from over the years that are about just about men's success stories. So some of these men, you know, there's Turok, there's Lawrence. I bet you can think of some men that you know that their success story belongs in the legacy. As we get to the bottom, you can see add your story to the Living Legacy Project, and you click the button. And when that happens, what pops up in my second screen is the email where you just fill out the email with the content. Don't forget the pictures. We need photographs, right? To make my job easy. But then we will publish on our publication timeline, we'll publish what you men submit, and it will appear here, and it will also be kept in legacy. Moving down, we've got what's called Wisdom of the Men. We can see there's a piece from Bob Irwin here, from Mike
Barge,
Ross.
got to move on.
Okay. Okay, very good. So this is what, these are men who have passed. If we click,
So everybody, go to legacymag.org, check it out, and make your contribution. And remember, that should be in legacy.
thank you, complete.
All right, thanks, Labarge. Can you stop the screen share, please?
Yep.
Awesome, thank you. Next up, we have the Vice President of Legacy Discovery, Ed Harrigan. Harrigan, you're up.
Hey, man. So I got a pretty big task that I've been tasked with by Kennard and the other men in the core team. And we want to take the legacy discovery that we've been working on and perfecting for the last 22 years, bring it to the level which it deserves to be our MDI signature event. And in order to do that, we see as the core team two things that we need to work on. One is making sure the curriculum is as good as it has to be and that it's unified throughout the organization. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a team of men that have been digging the well for the last 20 years and working on the LD, and bring those men together to examine all the curriculums that we're currently using throughout the organization, see what we're doing right, see what can be improved, and see what we're doing different that we may want to incorporate throughout the whole, the curriculum throughout the whole organization. With those men, we're gonna be looking for men that become international trainers out of those men that are gonna be working on the curriculum. And those men will then engage the regions in putting on highly productive and well done LDs with the curriculum that we've all agreed is the right curriculum. The second part is to raise the standards of the legacy discovery to a level which we can be proud of, to call our signature event, and work on getting uniform standards throughout the organization for all the production and the event management parts of the legacy discovery. So with that being said, we're going to need to help with men that love the LD and want to participate on either side of this. The men that are production men that love doing production and bringing high standards to production and event management, and to the men that love the curriculum, and we've been working on that for many, many years. And so we need those men to help and step up and help create the changes we need to do to make this become the legacy we can call our signature event. I'm complete.
I'm muted now.
Muted.
I'm gonna put my contact
Yeah.
information in the chat if anybody wants to reach out and offer up any help that is any help they want to. Complete.
Yeah, I stayed muted because Harrigan wasn't really done yet.
There you go.
So you may have heard this word somewhere in your life, certainly a few times on this call. It's technology. And if you have been around this organization more than 5 minutes, you know that we have a vice president of technology. So I want to introduce our vice president of technology, Dennis Moreau, and our international S1, Dave Smith. And the two of them have been collaborating very closely on technology. So, men, you're up.
Hi, I'm Dennis Moreau, Vice President of Technology. And where is Smith? Anyway, oh, there he is.
I'm right here.
And I have a presentation that I'm going to share with you, men. And I think it's going to be pretty self-explanatory here. And here we go. Oh, I don't think I got the sound. Hold on.
Technical issues.
Imagine a future where we have our own MDI app for your phone, for your browser, for your computer. You're able to chat with your men's team and any member of Mentor, Discover, Inspire. You're able to communicate and collaborate with the men on your men's team at any time. You're able to keep a team calendar that provides reminders when all your events are happening. You can store files that your men's team and only your men's team can have access to. You can have access to all of MDI's information in one place. The future is now. The MDI app, Mentor, Discover, Inspire, and Bitrix 24. You will no longer need to imagine an MDI app. In the next few weeks, every man in MDI will be receiving an email with your login and password for Bitrix 24, our MDI app.
Want me to go? It's self-explanatory, and I'm complete.
Love the dress code, Moreau.
No, you're still muted.
Snow muted.
Yeah, Snow's been having some technical issues. The next man to speak is DeCarlo.
Yes, thank you. Ben, I'm DeCarlo. I want to make this clear. I really think I think we've lost our way in how we've been bringing men to our circles. And I want to assure you that we're going to get back on track. There's some adjustments that we can all be making. And it's going to start with a lot of what we talked about already tonight, which is, do you trust this organization? There's a lot of doors, a lot of ways in which we get men to our circles, whether you're helping them get to our trainings, get to a legacy discovery, invite them to meetings, enter our referral program, sign them up for Sterling, fly them from the opposite side of the coast, whatever it takes to get men to our circles, because we give a shit about them. We should be reacquainting ourselves with outreach, enrollment. Kind of lost our way. Some of you had some good experiences with expansion initiative. Others ask why it's still here. We're going to address all that, and we're going to continue to work on it. but it's clear that the XI, as we like to call it now, XI is going to be relying more on, it's not going to be relying on as much on social media and online devices to invite men here. So I think along the way, there's just been the stigma with the introduction of the expansion initiative that I no longer have to bring men here because men will be showing up through the expansion initiative. And the bottom line is that's not why it was created. It wasn't created to replace how we connect with men and how we bring them to the meetings. It's an augmentation designed and built to support how we reach out to other men in their communities through the influence of social media, period. So we're going to find some ways to work together. I want to thank the men that have been participating currently and in the past. The men who dug the well, Snow, Folks, Lawrence, other giants, thank you. It's a strong program and it's going to grow. It's going to get better. But it needs our care. And it needs our support. It needs you. I'm going to touch upon some of the incredible opportunities that are existing right now and available to us that's going to strengthen this program and participate in our success. Our vision of our president, which you've heard, it's through trust, collaboration, foundation to invite future generations into our circle. And we're here to support them. We're here to own each other's success. And what I learned and what we all learned in the summit is the strength and collaboration, old-fashioned teamwork, not doing it alone, asking for help, trust. That's how we're going to grow. Growth is how we survive. It provides us the gifts in how we receive or how we share it, the gifts in sharing what we have. But the way we're doing it now and how we're going to be doing it are two different things. So I'm just going to touch upon a little bit of a couple of things that we're doing, the expansion initiative with some of the other team members and leadership. The expansion team is myself, Greg Aldrich, Paul Flood, Russell Jassy, Jeff Tomlinson. We're all working with the other leaders. With Tomlinson and Aldrich, there's some opportunities having to do with all sorts of things regarding social media, A/B testing, how we communicate, drip campaigns, email blasts, marketing, images, videos, technology, data, how we use it. There's just a ton of different things that are opening up to all of us where we can learn from our leaders and we can learn from you. So we're starting to open up those doors. MTP program, Jassy and Flood are starting to work with Crop and Baldwin, and we're going to find out how to make MTP even better than it is today and closing that gap between the men that are being introduced to our organization to MTP programs all across the organization. We're also working with Legacy Discovery and the training, because right now the men that are coming from social media and new men don't really know about everything else that we have to offer. So we're working with Harrigan and Lines to make sure that we're starting to communicate in different ways, whether they be videos, teasers, PDFs, print, email, all different things that we could be doing on a promotional basis. So there's a lot, but I have to say that I've been speaking one-on-one with the regional coordinators, and I'm really excited. They're motherfuckers, and they're ready to take the bull by the horns. And we kind of kicked it around, what's working, what's not working. And what I love about their participation and their go-getters is they want some skin in the game, and they want to know how we can collectively move forward and powerfully. And what we decided on, or what we talked about, was an opportunity for a regional competition. And there will only be one division standing. And that's going to incorporate a lot of what we're talking about today and how we're working together to move everybody's program forward, and how we can contribute and how you can play a role. And it's going to support your region, and may the best region win. You'll hear more about that, of course. I'm complete.
All right, thanks, DeCarlo. Can you men hear me now?
Yes.
All right, great. So, and last but by far not least, our Vice President of Training, Matt Lyons.
was
Lyons.
unmuting.
There
I
we
am
go.
unmuted. Look out, everybody. I'm unmuted. Yeah, I am Matt Lyons. I am the Vice President of Training for MDI. The MDI training program had its most successful year in history last year. Multiple trainings, over 250 men. One of our trainings, the enrollment training, had over 100 men in that single training. We're looking to top that in 2022. Now, our current offerings include the introduction to leadership training, the team leader training, and our most popular training, the enrollment training. So let's talk about what's next. 2022 will see the introduction of the essential skills training, as well as a bunch of short instructional videos and teasers, as Frank called them, that can include MTP mentoring, beginning Bitrix 24, for those of you who are wondering what the heck that is. That's our communication and collaboration platform, and other short videos like that. We're going to continue to strive to meet the needs of the men in every corner of the organization. And I'm excited to announce the next upcoming training, which is the team leader training. And it's the updated version of it. And it begins Wednesday, March 9th, running every Wednesday for 4 weeks and concluding on March 30th. And the registration page on the MDI website will be up soon. On another topic, we need some help and some feedback as we're looking to create new trainings that appeal to our younger demographic. We have younger men coming into MDI. And I'll let you know how to contact me in a minute, but I'd love to hear any feedback or ideas about how to appeal to this very important demographic. Also, I am in the process of building this team. And if you know any men who benefit from being on an international team that's committed to training men to be great leaders, or if you are a man that I just described, please contact me by text or via Bitrix. If you have any questions or comments regarding the MDI training program, I'm going to post my contact info in the chat right after this, but you could call me or text me at 510-20-LIONS. That's 510-205-9667, or send me a chat message on Bitrix. And I'm looking forward to another successful year in 2022. And I'm honored to serve you men as we grow this great organization. Lions out.
All right, thanks, Lyons. Next up is our Vice President of Regional Operations, Senior Vice President of Regional Operations, Tom Thurmond. And he'll be introducing the regional coordinators and what they have to bring to the meeting. Mr. Thurmond.
Gentlemen, I'm going to introduce the regional coordinators to you, and they're going to give you a short update about what's going on in their regions. First up is Roger Ingham from the Western region.
Good evening, men. I am Roger Ingham, the Western Region Coordinator. And the Western Region's vision is thousands of men living by the code of honor, inspiring thousands more to do the same. The Western Region is committed to powerful mentoring and training of men to win, holding legendary events that drive the region towards the vision. For example, we participate in all international MDI trainings. February 26 is one coming up. We are holding a Western Region core team training for our 2 divisions, 2 tribes, and the Western Region core team. In the fall, we are planning on having another successful legacy discovery, and we actually are in the process of finalizing the date. My core team will be talking about that tonight. In the fall, we are planning on having another successful, I already said that. In a few words, Cameron Williams, one of the Western Region's members and one of our newer MDI members, will tell us what he has gotten out of MDI so far. Mr. Williams?
Hi, yeah, I'm Cameron Williams. I joined maybe a little about 2 years ago. And yeah, I would say I joined because I was lonely and didn't have many relationships with men other than my family. And I saw a lot of men who had gained a lot in their life and grown a lot in their life. And I was eager and hungry, if not even a little greedy, to learn what they'd figured out. And I was super impatient about it, but I just kept saying yes. And I did MTP. While in MTP, I volunteered to lead our ELF effort that year. I went through enrollment training, team leader training. I became Division S1. I went to the LD. I went to the point team. And I just, as of 2 weeks ago, became a team leader. I'm signed up for the Sterling Weekend. And yeah, I just have to say, in the last 2 years, I've grown more than I probably have in the prior 10. I'm more goal-oriented, more confident. I finally got out of a shitty job. I'm more focused on my fitness. I'm spending a lot less time doing unhealthy, unproductive things. I beat myself up less. I self-sabotage less. I'm more forgiving, patient, generous, accepting, aware. And I don't sell myself out or others out, at least as often. And yeah, just generally leaning more into trying to be these masculine archetypes that I now know what they are. But I would say most importantly, that mindset that I described at the beginning, where I was eager, if not greedy, to get more. I've realized recently that I get a lot more out of giving. And if I give, others get better, they get more on their A game. And as a result, I get more back than I would have gotten otherwise. It's the epitome of the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And so, yeah, my team and my division knows I've become much more enrolling. I'm working on 6 different men right now and trying to get them to show up and come to meetings and help them see the value and help them have the opportunity, whether it's for them or not. And supporting in my new team leadership, one of my big initiatives is to really train and encourage the men on my team to be more enrolling. I'm working on a ceremony right now and an event to kind of help facilitate that. And yeah, I'm thankful for being asked to speak. It's validating of the work that I have been doing. Being asked to participate in helping run being involved in the ops team for the LD. And sooner or later I'll have Ian Kenner's job. So watch out. I'm complete.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Thurman, it's back at you.
Thank you, sir. The next regional coordinator is Bill Oakes of the Southwest region.
All right. Hi, everybody. This is Oakes from the Southwest region. We're in San Diego, and we are the smallest region in MDI because we have one division, the San Diego division. I say smallest for now, but not for long. And because we're focusing on growth, and we're looking at how to bring more men in. We're strengthening our MTP program, and we're because we do have one division with one core team. We don't have the interactions with other men doing the same thing that other regions do. So we're starting an interaction process with the Western region to get onto their calls and to build relationships with them so that we get the input from other men who are doing the same thing. We do have a legacy discovery that we're working on, that we're planning for the month of June. And so looking forward to putting that together and pulling that off and benefiting the men that go to that. That'll be a great thing for our region. We haven't had one in 3 years. And I'd like to introduce now Garrett Holleran. He happens to be the DC of San Diego, and he will tell us some benefits that he's received from being in MDI.
Welcome, men. Holleran, DC, San Diego. So I've been in part of MDI for about 10 years now. One of the major benefits I got was finding my voice. It helped me be a mature masculine leader. One of the benefits I really enjoy about being in a team, in a circle, is the ability to give and get mentorship. So that's where I've gained my voice, from trainings, from mentorship, being in a circle of men, the relationships with the men, and having fun. So I'm complete.
Okay, Thurman, back to you.
Thank you, sir. The next regional coordinator is Tony Fisher of the Canada region.
Hi, Ben. Yeah, the regional coordinator for the Canada region, and there's a lot going on here. The Canada region, in contrast to the Southwest, is actually MDI's largest region, and it's made up of 4 divisions: Abenaki, Atlas, Head Smashed In, and Western Front. We're one of the regions that benefited the most, I think, from the expansion initiative, because we've been consistently growing our membership through that program. And once we get the men come in, we get them engaged in the membership training program. So you just never know. One of our newer members might reach out to you to connect and explore the Code of Honor tenets. We're currently hosting MDI's only Spring Legacy Discovery for 2022, and it starts on April 29th. The border and government restrictions here in Canada are starting to ease up, and we'd love to host any MDI, any MDI man, I knew I'd stumbled over that one, at our event. Registration should be open next week online at our membership website. You can imagine, as Canada's largest region, leadership changes are almost a way of life. This year, we'll be renewing our leadership bench with 2 DC elections, an election of 2 regional board members for the board of directors, and an RC election when I complete in the fall. And that doesn't even begin to touch on the leadership changes at the division and team levels. The pandemic has highlighted a different way to meet, and that's just what we're doing here at this town hall. The Canada region is the home to Atlas, MDI's only strictly online division. And yes, Atlas has become an official division. And it's a point of pride for us here in the Canada region, because the last tribe to become a division was Western Front. As you heard from Mr. Kennard, that was 10 years ago. But with that, we've also embraced the technology, because our other 3 divisions, Abenaki, Head Smashed In, and Western Front, have all embraced it by adding online teams to their divisions. But all of that's just sort of background business in the region, and our primary focus is supporting you men in your journey in life. And we encourage our men to contribute to the operation of men's teams to gain practical leadership experience, or really to sign on to some of MDI's excellent online trainings. Personally, I've been in MDI for 12 and a half years now, and I'm still learning and growing. And I'll be happily drawing on some of that growth when I get married again later on this year. It's my fervent belief that all the men in the Canada region are inspired to learn and grow. So let me introduce you to one of our members from Atlas, Irfan Ahmadi, who will let you know about his own journey. And so, Ahmadi, over to you.
Hey, team. Thank you, Fisher, for giving me the platform to talk about what I've gotten from MDI so far. Before I joined MDI, well, first of all, I can't fucking imagine life without MDI. Like, I was, a majority of the time I look at it and I'm like, what the fuck was I doing without MDI? But that's besides the point. I do want to emphasize that, like, before I joined MDI, I wanted to start a men's team. And then I was able to do some research and found MDI. Through MDI, I've met some incredibly life-changing people, people like Krop, Raskin, Chibanu, Tager, Stewart, and Schlosser and Carnot. There's some incredible humans and connections that I've made. But from that, I've gained a lot of self-reflection, grit, courage, resilience, authenticity, awareness, vigilance. They've been a mirror in my face and have taught me how to be a better version of myself. I'm a leader in my regular life, and I've become such a transformational, better leader than I've ever been before. Tenacity, discipline, humility, integrity, honor, humor. Like, it's just been incredibly life-changing. And Legacy Discovery was like 31 years of therapy in 48 fucking hours. It's just, MDI is life-changing, and I would absolutely love to trust the president and the rest of the staff to allow other men to recognize that this is out there and this is achievable for them too. With that, I'm complete.
Thank you, sir. Our next regional coordinator is Mike Conkrite of the Northeast region.
Hello, men. I am Michael Conkrite from the Northeast region. Our vision is changing humanity for the better by causing greatness, one man at a time. Our region spans from New York, New Jersey, all the way to Poland, Maine. Yes, that's where we make the water. We have 3 divisions: Massive Dump, Wicked Hard, and Warrior Sons. This year, we've taken our legacy discovery very seriously, realizing that we need to build ours from the ground up. And we decided to do the right thing, which is ask for help and collaborate. So we're collaborating with the Southeast region to create and train a legacy discovery so men can be served not this year, but next year, the year after, and moving forward. And our context this year is serving the men and bringing them together to create an amazing region that's just going to keep growing. And I'd like to introduce to you one of our DCs, Zebly.
Yeah, thank you, Conkrite. Zebly, I've been, did my weekend November 2015, did my LD October 2018. I've held numerous jobs in the organization. I'd say training, mentorship, leadership training. I mean, I've gotten a ton of stuff from MDI. And most importantly, I probably have gotten most of it because I stepped up in positions. There's an opportunity here and to get better, for me to get better, for me to be the man I always wanted to be. And those roles are out there. And every time I did, I grew. So, that was huge for me. And just taking this position 2 months ago, I've already seen changes in my life. Last 7 years, I'm in a healthy marriage right now. I created my own business, which I'm growing. None of that stuff I would have done without the men. And I'd say, most importantly, I got my men, and I got a place where I can be completely mask off, which I can't do that anywhere else. So I'm complete. Thank you, Conkrite.
Thank you, Zebly. Back to you, Thurman.
Thank you. And last but not least, Kevin Manthe, Regional Coordinator for the Southeast region.
Well, look, I'm Manthe out of the Southeast region, and if folks says they're the smallest, we're the second smallest. We're one division like they are. The Dog Soldiers out here, which are a proud group of men who can get anything they put their mind to done. We were one of the only 2 LDs to run last year under COVID. It had a very successful event, way beyond what I could have thought that we could have done. Under COVID, we had literally an entire point team pretty much stay together after it and reformed an entire team of MDI with quite a few new men. And the way those men have been on fire is absolutely catching. So the Southeast region's in a place where we're gonna, put on. Looks like we're gonna put on 2 LDs this year, as we're working out some of the final stages of planning for the first one. But we're looking at doing that. We have men on fire just ready to lead it and take it to the top of the hill, as well as partnering with the Northeast region to get their men trained up. So we're definitely partnering there to make sure that, not just we're getting our LD, but the men up there who don't have an LD can get their LD as well. One of the men that's part of that point team that came out of our last LD is Burkhart. And I'm going to have him talk a little bit about what he's gotten from MDI in the very short period of time he's been part of MDI. Burkhart.
Good evening, men. I'm Burkhart. I was introduced to MDI maybe back in October. got an invitation and stepped up, decided to take it. Was in a crossroads in my life, going through a tough divorce. Took the invitation. That turned out to be Legacy Discovery, easily one of the greatest weekends of my life. Learned a lot about myself. Had never been able to connect with men, met a group of men and formed a team like nothing I've ever been in before. The support that I feel and have given, it's a two-way street, has just been amazing. We're doing the membership training program right now, which I'm finding really enriching. And yeah, it's one of the three, I call it the three-legged stool of what's keeping me up going on right now is my recovery group, my men's team, and my therapist. And it's just more than I can ever ask for. I appreciate everything that's going on here and the effort to bring in more people. Everybody needs to know about MDI, and every man needs an opportunity to attend these meetings. So thank you, and I am complete.
Thanks, Burkhart. Thurman, I'm complete.
Thanks, Ben. Great job. Over to you, Snow.
Thank you, Mr. Thurman, and all of the regional coordinators and all of the men that you brought for us to hear from. And men, you've been, want to thank you for your patience. You've been here and listening to man after man after man. And now we have an opportunity for any of you, if you have questions, and Mr. Smith is going to run that part of the program. So Smith, over to you.
Yes, thank you. This is the part of the program where you raise your hand and we will recognize men in order that they step in line. I've got Mr. Rafe Snyder as number one. You can ask a question or give us a comment.
Got it, thanks. So thanks to everyone who spoke this evening. I'm inspired by what you're up to. I do have a question, and this troubles me. It's not so much a complaint as a matter of integrity. Why is the seating of new men on teams conditional on anything at all? Such as, why is it conditional on our filling out team reports rather than just leadership honoring its word and putting men on teams? That is the question.
So who's the best man to answer that?
I don't know if
Looks like Lyons has something to say.
The president.
You're muted, Kennard. go.
Thanks, Ray Snyder. Great question. Yeah, when the team leader reports were created, we thought that it would be one of our criteria for having a team be ready to accept men, because it helps us understand what's going on at the team level, helps us understand what the team leader's up to. We realize that can be restrictive and isn't the best metric to figure out whether a team is ready to accept men. And that is a discussion that's going on with Thurman and the international core team and the regional coordinators to look at a better way to set parameters and guidelines for a team being ready to accept men.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Bernsey.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to appreciate the big picture that we've been getting today about the big picture, meaning the whole organization wide. I'm really more concerned with the little picture, which is the men on the teams and particularly men who have trouble financially. So the question is, what would it take? I mean, for like training sessions to be free for members? Our dues are notoriously high. Is there a way that the small guys can get a break? I know you have scholarships, but I think it would be a good policy organization wide to have trainings be available for free, complete.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your comment.
Next, I believe your name, excuse me if I mispronounce it, Hajali.
You pronounce it perfectly fine. Thank you.
Excellent.
I really appreciated hearing all the changes, and particularly the one with scheduling. I have two questions, and one of them is about dues, and it's about how, if at all, the paid positions will affect the dues that the men have to pay every year. Is there going to be an increase? That's question number one. And question number two is about the MDI app. How does leadership see the MDI app helping fulfill the MDI mission, which is to mentor men to live with excellence? I'm just having trouble wrapping my head around how learning how to use an app is going to help you in your real world versus using tools that are already available in the real world that you can transition to real life skills that way. I'd appreciate any answer to either of these questions.
So answer to your first question, Hajali, no, there is no intention on increasing dues just to support paid positions. It's about increasing our membership. And again, Hollowaychuk, our CFO, ran the numbers, and if we get to 1,100 men or 1,160 men, that would provide enough revenue for us to support $150,000 in paid staff without increasing dues.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, quickly, we're from Rami at the second question.
How is the
MDI
app? Yeah.
So the MDI app we look at as a all-in-one tool that allows us to store everything we need from MDI in one place, have access to it in one place. It's a communication tool and a collaboration tool. So it's not about it's about giving us, it's part of the foundation that we need to be able to do the work that we're going to do, so that we can collaborate effectively, we can communicate effectively, and that will allow us to do the work to cause greatness by mentoring men to live with excellence, etc. So it's a tool that we're going to use to support the growth of men and the organization. It's not in itself a transformational tool, but it's a support tool for what we want to do. Did that answer your question?
It did, but I'll trust the leadership to know the bigger picture, and excited to see how this plays out. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next is Shantz.
Thank you. Just a quick question about the multitude of websites that have been popping up over the last couple of years. Can there be links between them? Or is there an intention to consume everything into Bitrix?
I think that's a question for Mr. Moreau. Mr. Moreau,
Yeah, you're muted. It might be a hardware mute.
Smith, are you able to answer that question?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there's Moreau. There's Moreau. Thank you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so we have, we actually only have 3 websites right now. All the other ones are all linked together, and the idea is to link them together, and they are now. Did I answer your question?
Not necessarily. For instance, my division, Western Front, has a divisional webpage that is separate from. And I'm guessing there may be others like that.
We internationally, we don't have anything to do with the regional or division websites. Certainly, if there's an interest in putting those together, we can. But if I had no idea that your division had a website, so
my question would be: is that website designed for public access? Because Bitrix is different from that. If you want to advertise your division using a division website, then we don't have anything to do with that. But as far as working together, collaboration, confidential chats. There's less administration to keep track of who is where by using the joint websites that we have right now, the database and Bittrex.
Did that answer your question, Chance?
What if you don't want to be tracked?
I think for the most part, it maybe highlights that there is a number of things going on that we're not all aware of and not all coordinating and collaborating the way you're hoping to going forward.
Appreciate that, Chance, and noted, and we'll take a look at how we can improve that situation. And I'll be in contact with Fisher about it.
Thank you. And next is Mr. Angelo, and we've only got a couple more minutes to go.
Hi, I'm Mark Agnello, and I'm outreach manager for Legacy Santa Cruz area. And I would like to know if Mr. DiCarlo, I think his title was Expansion AXI Initiative. I might have that wrong, would be like my upper for chain of command, being outreach manager. It would be nice to get some ideas maybe from higher up that, what would be acceptable for what kind of stuff might, job title would be, or what would be some outreach things that you think would be best.
I think you and I should talk.
Yeah, and I think so. And Agnello, I'd like to say that that's part of the group of men that we're putting together. And if you're interested in joining, please send me your contact information, because we're looking at how to leverage enrollment, outreach, team to leader development into making it create the results that we actually need it to create. And I know you're an outreach program that's within your region and you don't have an international support for that, but that's what we're looking at. We're looking at how to create international support for outreach enrollment, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, I'll send you my info. Thanks.
Thank you.
And next is Mr. Fair.
I'm from Toronto, Canada, and there's 2 or 3 things I'd like to say in this meeting. First one is go Team Canada for all you Americans. Our women, took you guys to task yesterday. Anyways, I just had to say that. Another one would be we were talking about not using Facebook and Instagram. Again, maybe I read this wrong, but not using Facebook and Instagram so much to attract new people to MDI. I was one, and multiple other people that I know have been attracted to MDI through Facebook and Instagram. So I really hope that's not going to be taken away. I think that was one of the ways that I have reached out to multiple guys on this group chat tonight, that I was in the same boat as them, looking for men in my area to kind of connect with and just kind of get a better connection with men in my area. And I felt that the Facebook app, or sorry, not the Facebook app, it's the Facebook advertisement that they had really drew me in. So maybe I want to ask the president, are we going to keep that as one of the ways of drawing new men in? And I understand, yes, we have to draw new men in from our friends group and stuff like that, but are we going to keep that?
Yes, we are. There's no intent, and I'm sorry if you misunderstood, DiCarlo. We are going to keep the Facebook and Instagram and those social media ads going to attract new men. What DiCarlo is looking at is how we improve the effectiveness and reliability of those programs and what else we can do to augment those.
So are you asking questions to groups per general, like for example, our group, the Wolf Pack, which is far and none the best pack in this whole group, but are we asking the question to the actual groups to say, what do you suggest that we do as a whole MDI group? Like what we need to,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yes, we are looking to bring new men in to our teams, the Carlos team, all the teams that run programs. We're looking to bring new men in for a new perspective and to have answers to those questions. What can we be doing differently? What should we be looking at that will continue to attract men? Yes, we are looking for feedback from new men in the organization as to what brought them here and what else we can do to attract more men.
So how about a survey to throw out to each group to say, what do you think that we should be doing as a whole group throughout North America to be able to attract more men into the group?
Thank you. Yeah, we'll take
Okay,
a look at that.
cool.
Appreciate your input.
I'm complete.
Thank you. And we are finished with the questions because we've run out of time completely. Kenneth, back to you.
Thank you very much, Smith. Thank you very much for hosting us tonight. Thank you very much, Mr. Snow, for running the call and reading and looking after the MC duties. But thank you to all the men who contributed. Thank you to all the men that were here. I'm excited to be the president of Mentor, Discover, Inspire. I'm excited for our future. I'm excited that we're building an organization where your great-great-grandson will have a men's team to go to. I'm excited about the level of collaboration that is occurring not only amongst the international core team, but the RCs and the DCs in the program, because it's clear that in order to succeed and go where we're going, we need to work together. We need to support each other, and we need to be in communication always, and we need to be setting goals and working towards them. And that's what I'm up to. So thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting the core team. Thank you for being here tonight to listen to what we're up to and where we're going. And I'm truly excited about the future of Mentor, Discover, Inspire. And I'll close with my vision again, is that with trust and collaboration, we build the foundation and infrastructure for Mentor, Discover, Inspire, so that all future generations of men have a men's circle to stand in. Thank you very much, men. Please reach out to me at any time if you have a question or would like to chat. And with that, gentlemen, the town hall is complete. Thank you very much.